Hello guys, welcome to today's video of OEE, that is overall equipment effectiveness. OEE or OEE, what you may say, is a very common term that is used in manufacturing units. Now this term is used to calculate the capability of a production unit. Might have heard it commonly. Now let's understand it in detail. Okay, so let's start by understanding the definition of OEE. So OEE is overall equipment efficiency, which is a key performance indicator used in manufacturing to measure how effectively production equipment is utilized compared to its full potential. Now, in simple words, we can understand that it provides a ratio of observed output against expected output for whichever manufacturing machine we consider or a process we consider. If suppose a manufacturing facility for which we say is operating at 80% OEE, then we can assume that the machine or the process is operating at 80% of its intended capacity. Now, OEE is based basically on three main parameters. First is machine availability, how much time the machine is actually available for production. Second, machine productivity, out of the available time, how much productivity the machine did perform. This we can understand in detail in the next coming slides. And again, the quality of the machine output. The OEE formula is as measured in percentage and which can be provided as availability into productivity into quality. These all three parameters are first calculated individually and then we have to convert it into total OEE of a process or machine. Now let's start understanding each parameter and its calculation. Availability. Availability is a measure of how much time the machine was actually available for production or operation. So suppose we have a machine which is supposed to run for 8 hours, but in that 8 hours there will be definitely some downtime like tea time, then lunch breaks, or machine went for maintenance due to some or other issue. So even if the machine was supposed to run total of 8 hours, it would be only running for 6 hours or 7 hours or a different figure than the actual expected operating time. Now the ratio of this actual working time with respect to the intended with respect to intended time is known as availability. Availability is calculated as total shift time minus downtime divided by total shift time. For an example, if total shift time is supposed to be 420 minutes and there is a downtime of 30 minutes of lunch time, tea break of 10 minutes, so we subtract this value, we get 420 minus 40 minutes of downtime divided by 420. Here the factor A is equal to 0.9, that is 90% of availability of the machine. Second major factor, that is productivity. Productivity measures if the machine was running at its ideal speed, that is required output per hour versus actual output per hour. So the formula is given as productivity is equal to actual output divided by planned output into 100. For example, actual output we consider a machine had made 360 number of units in 8 hours of shift, but as per the cycle time we had planned for 400 numbers. Now if we divide these two values, that is actual output divided by the planned output and multiply it by 100, then we get 90% as the productivity output. Quality. Machine production quality. It is a measure of how many units produced from the machine were actually in a good and defect free state. So suppose we produce 400 numbers from a machine and 10 numbers of them are rejected. So the actual output in a good quality terms we can say is 390. So this is also an important factor to measure the machine OEE. The quality factor is determined by defect free items divided by total items into 100. For an example, we consider 360 numbers were produced, defective were 10 numbers, defect free items now are 350. So the quality is calculated as 350 divided by 360 into 100, that is 97.2 percentage. So this 97.2 is the quality percentage of that particular machine. Now that we have understood availability calculation, productivity calculation, and quality calculation, we can calculate OEE by the provided formula that we have. Now let's calculate for the example that we had considered. Now for previous example, we had availability of zero point 0.9, that is 90%, productivity of zero point 0.9, again 90%, and machine quality of 97.2% or 0.97.2. Now if you do a maths, you will get the figure as 0.787 or 78.7 percentage. Now this 78.7 can be understood as the OEE of this manufacturing facility, or in simple words we can understand that this machine or this manufacturing facility is operating at 78% of its intended capacity. The goal of OEE calculation is to ensure that we know the capacity of our manufacturing facility and how we can increase it by making corrections on our line. The ideal OEE should be above 95 percentage so that we get the required output from our manufacturing facility. That's all for today. If you like my video, please do subscribe and like this video and share with others. Thank you.